Sporo będziemy mówić nie tylko o tym, jak odbudować Ukrainę, ale także jaką Ukrainę będziemy odbudowywać i jakimi środkami. Kiedy wrócimy do historii, kiedy wspomnimy odbudowę świata po II wojnie światowej, ale także zmianę krajów po transformacji lat 90., po upadku Związku Socjalistycznych Republik Radzieckich i wpływu tegoż na Europę, jest część wspólna. Zmiana i jest to, co te dwa okresy różni. To są technologie, które były wtedy używane. Dlatego teraz o technologiach będziemy rozmawiać, o nowych technologiach, dlatego że odbudowana Ukraina na pewno nie będzie przypominała tej sprzed wojny. I o tym teraz Bartłomiej Godusławski z Business Insider i jego goście.
Good afternoon. My name is Bartek Godusławski. I am a journalist from Business Insider Polska, and I have a great pleasure to moderate a panel today. Our panel title is Building Digital Resilience: How New Technologies Can Support Ukraine's Recovery and Strengthen Digital Transformation. Give a warm welcome to our panelists. I will introduce them in alphabetical order. Peter Bakenecker, Mastercard CEO for Central Europe. Błażej Szczecki, Vice President of the Management Board of Bank Pekao. Anna Tigipko, Owner and CEO of Izibank. Last but not least, Patrick Warnking, Vice President of Google for the CE region. I will also sit, so I'm the moderator, so I have a tie and unfortunately we've got only 20 minutes to discuss, and we'll most likely only scratch the surface. So without further ado, let's move to my questions, to our debate. My first question is to everyone. Today we are moving in the world of digital transformation, very fast digital transformation. What will be most important for Ukraine in post-war reconstruction? Access to people with appropriate digital skills, building a new tech infrastructure resistant, for example, for cyber attacks or something like that, a cooperation with global techs, or could there be some more other factors I haven't mentioned? So maybe let's start with Patrick Warnking.
Dzień dobry. Nice to meet you all. Pleasure to be here. So first of all, let me say I have a lot of admiration how people in Poland helped Ukraine and people from Ukraine. It's really amazing. I believe we should focus on three topics and always think people first. The first one is humanitarian help. And there are many examples how digital has helped, warning people for air raids, helping people to organize the refugee work and really find accommodation, find family and friends if they are displaced, things like that. So humanitarian help should always be the number one topic on our mind. The second one really on digital resilience is digital skills, what you mentioned. Cybersecurity and fighting misinformation, which obviously all three are very important at the moment, and also there we have many examples of great programs and initiatives. And the last but not least is also innovation. We see strong innovation coming out of Ukraine. We just had a summit with 58 startups from Ukraine here in Warsaw, and it's amazing to see that even in these times they're helping their countries and they're helping people in Ukraine and beyond, actually globally.
Thank you very much. The same question to Anna.
Yes, thank you very much. Pleasure to be here. I have to say that I live and work in Ukraine still, so I have a first kind of hand-on knowledge on what's happening. And I would say probably the first thing that, as a Ukrainian, I would like to see is control of funding, making sure that whatever is given, donated, comes from different countries, is actually properly used, and we make sure the policies are there, etc. Ukraine is a pretty digitalized country as it is. I think we did remarkably well. Financial sector did incredibly well. I don't think that anyone actually expected banking and finance to survive, yet we continue going, having proper banking, cards, credit cards. We're giving out loans nowadays to retail clients. Who would have thought that that's possible? However, we do need help with building proper institutions to make sure that our growth and our development in the future continues as successfully as it is. When it comes to cybersecurity, etc., most of it's still social engineering, so it's informational help, how to deal with it is mostly appropriate. But unfortunately, as well as someone from banking, I know that sometimes you can't really do much about social engineering. It's just the way it is. You can just inform and hope. Otherwise, I think help with also a bit of infrastructure when it comes to internet, cloud, computing, etc. That's always will be helpful because more and more territories will be deoccupied, and then we'll need infrastructure there to help to rebuild and revive economy there.
Thank you very much. Błażej Szczecki.
Yes, thank you. So I would start with bold ambition. Meaning setting aspirational targets in order to align the transformation towards a target. I do ride a motorbike, and this is a simple rule. You ride to the point which you are looking at. The same holds true for the transformation. So I would start with bold ambition, for instance, to target the top 10 countries in terms of ICT adoption or digital skills. Having said that about the digital skills, I would then move to the people. So the talent pool, just to have people on board which are equipped with enough knowledge and know-how how to use this technology. So we do not need to. So I'm responsible for the technology, but I truly believe that it's more important to focus on the solutions, and that the technology is just the mean towards the target. Last but not least is the capital and the technology itself. So probably the modernization of the IT infrastructure in terms of 5G coverage or fabric broadband internet as a prerequisite to use all this technology and equip the private sector, because the private sector probably would be the engine of the transformation based on the foundations laid by the government. And finally, I would conclude with using the technology as a mean of transparency to further boost and enforce trust, what Anna mentioned, just to convince that all the means and not only the Ukrainian people, but also the foreign aid agency, that the transfer of funds is used towards the target.
Thank you very much. Peter?
Yeah, so the company I work for works in payments, what is part of financial services, and I would say, financial services are a lifeline of every economy, like energy or access to health, because you want access to funds, you want access to credit. It doesn't matter if you're a private person, it doesn't matter if you're a retailer or a corporate. And what we've seen in the Ukraine is that this system is, of course, severely in distress. And what we have seen so far, that it works so pretty well, is a little miracle. And, us in our role, together with our partners, we try to do several things. Number one is most probably in those situations, work with the financial industry and make sure the infrastructure is resilient. Cloud computing, access to cloud solutions, because they are less disrupted by current events. Then partnering with merchants, not only to make sure that goods are paid for, goods are sold, but also that people have access to cash in a case like this where that is needed. Partner with fintechs and young startups to make sure people can transfer money from person to person, from person to merchant, from merchant to government, and so on. And finally, I think every digital transformation in the future can be a catalyst for every economy. And the big problem most probably will be to make sure that the Ukrainian keep the people, the brain they developed, the IT capacities that have been there before the war, and this is where we all should help.
Thank you very much. The next round of my questions, I will start with Anna Tigipko. What has been Ukraine's digital transformation experience so far? You're from financial sector, so this is one of the most important sectors in each economy. So I want to ask you about these things in last few years in Ukraine before war, before Russian aggression.
I have to say that I never thought that I'll be saying that, but COVID really helped us very, very much indeed. Not only with Zooming and learning how to use Teams, etc., that's all great. But we've launched, I don't know if many of you know, it's a e-government documents DIA, which is very, very helpful. It's when you have basically in your mobile, your digital documents, your passport, your internal passport, external traveling document, your taxpayer's number, etc. So this is fantastic, and it really helps with identifying clients during registration. COVID really made sure that, because we had our COVID certificates in DIA as well, really made sure that everyone was so accustomed to it and had it on their phones. So it also makes sure that now, I would say probably 90% of our registration of onboarding of our clients are done completely online. So we don't have anyone going to the branch, getting a physical card there. Everything is done online. Probably 80% of those registrations are done through DIA plus Liveness, which is a great tool. Again, you can automate it. It's fantastic. And if you need a physical card, it could be sent via post. And postal services, surprisingly enough, work pretty much anywhere in Ukraine. So that's, I think that's one of the major important things that we had. We also started in finance a governmental program which started as well with COVID, some money that were given to promote vaccination. So on the basis of this program, now just I think yesterday or today, there's a launch of rebuilding program as well, where you register in a certain bank, you open a card, and then the government sends you money for rebuilding your house, your flat, etc. So it's a very good start, and I think that having such a digitalized country and population that's so eager and so finds it quite easy to use this system is fantastic, and it made sure that, again, financial services were working non-stop, and if people didn't have infrastructure or didn't have their bank accounts, they just could open a new one, transfer money, etc., get a card, and off they go. So it was really great.
Thank you. Błażej, I have a question for you. Should Ukraine focus on such, I'm not sure if this is the right word, aggressive digital transformation and do what some countries in the area of, for example, public services or financial services took many years, do in a short period of time, next 2-3 years? Of course, you are talking about world after war.
Yes, absolutely. I strongly believe that Ukraine should have this bold vision and go for this, let's say, aspirational path of transformation. The main reason is that digitalization has got a tremendous impact on various levers of the economy. There's a research showing that, for instance, aspirational path for Polish economy would increase the GDP by 2030 by 80 billion euros, which equals more or less the GDP of a country like Bulgaria. So there's a proof that the aspirational path could positively impact the speed and reconstruction of the country like Ukraine. And I must admit, we are having this conversation in Poland. And we tend to think that the Polish financial sector is very advanced. But to be honest, we are lagging behind Ukraine. In many aspects, the financial sector already has leapfrogged certain development areas which we developed over the time. And right now, I truly believe that the Ukraine country, provided this positive outcome of the war, will have a chance to leapfrog many Western European countries even further. So I wish all that to the Ukrainian people.
Thank you. And I don't think that no one can stop us with the digital transformation now, because we want everything digitalized now. So that's just the way it goes.
Thank you, Błażej. Patrick, how can the international community help now to support the post-war reconstruction? What can Google offer Ukraine?
So we have many projects there. As said earlier, we're starting with humanitarian help, and I gave a few examples, and there are many more in the daily life. Digital skills is definitely a part where we can accelerate. We have shipped 50,000 Chromebooks, for example, hardware to schools. We are helping with many of these initiatives and programs, including startups, including other organizations. On the safety and security, we can continue to help. We have helped 200 organizations, including a lot of media, to be protected. It's called Project Shield. You can look it up, where they are on safe servers and protected against cyber attacks and DDoS attacks and things like that, so that they can continue to do their work, media and NGOs and government, by the way. So that all continues. But I think we have a huge opportunity for the region with the momentum when hopefully fighting stops soon. There will be a huge momentum in all of that innovation that is coming with digital, and including all the economic part of it, including export. We already see that we have still, in these times, very strong export, even from small and medium enterprises and a few very big companies in Ukraine that are very successful. And with this, digital acceleration, and you mentioned that earlier, that actually digital commerce is really driving GDP and accelerating GDP. It's growing 2.8 times faster than average GDP. So it's a big acceleration, and we can continue to invest in this acceleration.
Thank you very much. Peter, pretty much the same question. How should business support rebuilding Ukraine? Mastercard is now a technology company, so I can ask you about the same thing.
No, so yes, we are. I think the right things at the right time. So first of all, I could never imagine that an innovative and forward-thinking country like the Ukraine would go back to old solutions. Okay. Currently, we help with things like electronic payouts of NGO payments, so social relief funds and all of these. We can't do that alone in our role, but we do that with our banking partners. Or we focus on digital-first propositions where people don't need any physical plastics at all anymore to do payments. That's completely normal for people and bank partners in the Ukraine. It's very different in other parts of Europe. And in the future, and hopefully this terrible war will end soon, we will of course focus on different things like the ongoing digitalization, the digitalization of processes. My colleague Mark here spoke about StartPath and what companies have been selected. And if you see what they do, so they all do processes around automation of account opening, KYC, anti-money laundering, fraud, or payments in social media, these kind of things. And then, of course, it's an ongoing process, it's an evolution. We haven't talked about risk, cybersecurity, and all of that, because it comes with more and more digitalization. But I'm sure at the right time, when we can look forward to do other things, that will be the parts where we help everyone in our network, and in particular the Ukrainian customers.
Thank you very much. We are mostly out of time. As I said in my first words, we will mostly only scratch the surface of a very huge and important topic about supporting Ukraine's digital transformation. Big thanks for our panelists. Please thank them. Patrick Warnking from Google, Anna Tigipko, Izibank, Błażej Szczecki, Bank Pekao, and Peter Bakenecker from Mastercard. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.